It is that time of year again. The NFL season is starting up, and I feel like I gotta make some predictions on this upcoming season, alright? Week 1 is upon us, and I can't wait to watch some gosh darn football. Now, before I start, I want to say I greatly appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe button. It would help me out a lot and help this channel out a lot too. So thank you in advance, or if you don't want to, no worries. Maybe I'll convince you another time. But what I'm going to say about week 1 is week 1 is the wackiest week in football. It is the wild, wild west. It is no man's land. You can't really accurately predict what everything's going to happen in week 1, considering there's new rookies, players on new teams, new coaches, everything's brand spanking new. So a team that sucked last year could just be really good this year, and we don't know. And a team that's really good last year could just suck this year. We don't really know. But I'm going to do my damnedest, and I think I can crack the code on this week. All right. The first game is the Thursday night game, the Dallas Cowboys versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, this is a game that would be like the Eagles go in there and just smack the Cowboys and just beat them up. And they could very well do that. I'm not denying that that couldn't happen. But we got to take into account that the Cowboys still have a decent team here, right? The offense is still pretty good. Dak Prescott obviously didn't play the best last year, but I think he's going to rebound this year with some good football. He's got the running game's not good. The running game's not good. Let's be honest here, guys. Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams, and the rookie Jaden Blue. Jaden Blue is an outlier. Maybe he could turn into something. But outside of him, no one is shaking in their boots playing against Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams in 2025. Let me tell you that, man. The receiving core is good, though. Jake Ferguson, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Jalen Tolbert. That's a good receiving core that could give this Eagles secondary trouble. However, the offensive line has got a lot of question marks. Of course, they got the young guy, Tyler Guyton, who struggled. Tyler Booker is a rookie. We don't know about him. And Tyler Smith, obviously, very good guard. Terrence Steele, mid as all hell. Cooper Bebe, okay. But it's like when you get up to that Eagles D-line, though, kind of Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter and Azeez Ojulari, like, are you really going to stop those guys with that O-line? I don't think they will. But I still think the wide receivers and weapons here can still work pretty well against Eagles defense. Now, the Cowboys' defensive line is actually not that bad. I actually over-hated them a little bit. It's not that bad, all right? Dante Fowler, Marshawn Kneeland, Oza Odighizuwa, and Kenny Clark. Obviously not what it should have been without Micah Parsons, but it's still not bad. However, this is the Eagles O-line we're talking about, the best O-line in football. Is that going to do anything to Jalen Hurts? Unless Marshawn Kneeland is just a stud out of nowhere, because Dante Fowler's a good player. We know this. Oza Odighizuwa was a good player. But Kenny Clark and Marshawn Kneeland need to come in and play amazing football to get some serious pressure on Jalen Hurts. As good as these guys are, that is good against great in the Eagles O-line. The Eagles O-line is going to stop everything unless you have like Myles Garrett and TJ Watt on opposite sides of the ball. That's the only way they're getting stopped. But hey, that's just me. This linebacking core is not going to do anything to Dallas Goedert, I think. I think Dallas Goedert is going to have a great game. Marcy Lafu, Damon Clark, Kenneth Murray, I don't think thing 1, 2, and 3 are going to do very good against Dallas Goedert. No offense to the linebacking core in Dallas, but I don't think they're going to do anything against Dallas Goedert. Now, the CBs, all right, if the Cowboys don't get really good pressure, I'm kind of curious to see how good DaRon Bland and Trevon Diggs do, because a lot of people, including myself, have said, like, oh, man, this team wouldn't do anything without pressure. But I want to see for myself if that's true. And if it isn't true, I'll eat my words. I'll eat my word and say DaRon Bland's a good-ass corner. I already think he is, but I'll eat my word and say he's amazing. But I don't know. Against A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, little to no pressure. It's going to be tough, man. And let's be real here about the Eagles. The Eagles have Saquon Barkley in that O-line and Jalen Hurts, the running ability. I think this Dallas defense is going to be nervous unless they get pressure, which I don't think they really will. I think they're going to pressure Jalen Hurts a few times, but through constant pressure, I don't think they will. So that is why I'm picking the Dallas Cowboys to lose this game. Now, of course, this is division, and division's wonky because you never know what you're going to get with division. It's said a lot of times, but it's true. You don't know what's going to happen. But I think Dallas will cover this spread at 8.5, but ultimately lose 26-20. The next game is the Friday game. It is the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, I don't want to speak Portuguese, so I'm not going to pretend to speak Portuguese. But I'll say this. Hola? Did that sound right? I hope that sounded right. Now, here we go again. We got a classic Chargers-Chiefs game here. You know what's going down in this game. We're going to get a close game, probably with the Chargers leading early, faltering in the end, get a late drive just to take the lead, and there's an interception. Oh, there's a fumble. Oh, it's a missed field goal. It is what it is, man. as much as I said things change every year, I feel like no matter who the quarterback is or different players are for the Chiefs and Chargers, the games always end the same. It happened with Philip Rivers. It's happening with Justin Herbert. It don't make a dang difference, all right? And with Rashawn Slater being out as well, I think Chris Jones, George Karlaftis are going to be licking their chops, feasting on this game, man. They got to hope Joe Alt holds the fort well at left tackle. Will he? I don't know. He's never played left tackle in a full game before. He's only played right tackle. He's done really good at right tackle, but is he going to do good against George Karlaftis and Chris Jones? I don't know, man. That's a big step up. That's a big-ass step up. Also, the weapons here aren't that great. Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen. I mean, they're both good. Even Keenan Allen's still pretty good, even though his age. But I don't think they're going to do much. Omari Hampton, I think, is going to be good, but he's up against, like, one of the toughest run-stop teams in the league. So it's going to be, like, it'll toughen Hampton up, for sure. It won't make him think he's living in a fantasy world where he can rush for 100 yards every game. It'll toughen him up the first game, show him that, yeah, this is the real world, buddy. You're not getting 100 yards every game. Sometimes you're going to get, like, 10 yards. 15 yards. But overall, I think it's going to be a fun game. Because let's be real, the Chargers-Chiefs games are always fun games. We can't deny that. I'll give the Chiefs to win 23-21. First game on Sunday, Tampa Bay versus the Atlanta Falcons. Tampa Bay got swept last year by Atlanta. They got swept by them and actually got their asses kicked in the second game. Now, this game is much different from the first time because this time it's Michael Penix's first start against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This game is like, I think it's going to be a shootout game. I think we're actually going to get a real fun game here, guys. Mike Evans is fully healthy. We got the new guy, Emeka Egbuka, and we got Bucky Irving's back starting. Penix, Mayfield. Mayfield's going to be slinging that thing. Mayfield don't give a damn. Baker Mayfield does not give a shit sometimes, and he's got that ball knowledge that I love. He's got that ball knowledge where, like, he's going to go in and he's not afraid of nobody. He's not afraid of any defensive end. He's not afraid of any quarterback in this league. He does not care. He could have freaking Olamide Zaccheaus. He could have Olamide Zaccheaus as his number one receiver, and he could have Myles Garrett full charging at him, and freaking prime Jalen Ramsey covering Zaccheaus, and he does not care. He's hucking that ball up and taking the hit from Myles Garrett. That's why I love Baker Mayfield. That's why I love Baker Mayfield. He does not care. I love it. But he shows no fear, man. He shows no fear. We saw him last year stiff-arming Nick Bosa, man. He does not care he's getting hit. He does not care who's covering which receiver. He does not care if it's in triple coverage. He should care if it's in triple coverage, but he does not care. He does not care about throwing that ball up, which I love. Now, I think I'm going to take the Falcons to win because of Bijan Robinson's running ability. I think Michael Penix is going to be sharp. I think he's going to show a step up from last year, even though he only played a few games. And I think he's going to sling that ball to London, sling it to Kyle Pitts. Yeah, Kyle Pitts. And I think he's going to be comfortable. I don't think he's going to get much pressure from this Buccaneers defensive line. The Buccaneers secondary, obviously, they got more players on there. But overall, you got to cover Drake London. He's a really good receiver. Even Bijan Robinson could be a threat in the wideout. So I think it's going to be a fun game, but I ultimately think the Falcons are going to win 33-28. Steelers, Jets. Oh, it's poetic to doing this game. They want to do Aaron Rodgers' revenge game, right? Aaron Rodgers thinks he's going in there. He thinks everything's all fun and dandy, right? Go to the Steelers. You got a good coach, You got good receiver. And, you got a good tight end. You got a good defense, right? And then you go to the team you were last time where you get destroyed every week with Battle Line. And you think you're going to win, but you're not going to win. That's because the New York Jets hold their ground, beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in the Week 1 first game of the week. I call an upset here. I don't need to make too much sense of this, all right? It's Week 1. Can't make too much sense of this. It is what it is, right? The New York Jets have the ability of surprise on their side. Now, I picked the Jets to win 7 games this year because I think they're going to win majority of those games in the first half of the year. Because Justin Fields has a way of starting strong. I feel like he started strong last year in the Pittsburgh Steelers. And obviously he didn't play much longer, but I think the fall off would have been way worse with Justin Fields than Russell Wilson was at the end of the year. I think it's got the element of surprise of the running ability and Braylon Allen and Breece Hall in the backfield and Garrett Wilson. It's going to shock some people. He did it last year against Atlanta when they beat him in Atlanta when everyone was picking Atlanta to win. And I think he's going to do it against the Steelers, man. I think he's going to have that sly, fast twitch muscle fiber ability, man, juking up the defense. J.J. Watt's going to be running in circles, not knowing what to do. Joey Porter and Jalen Ramsey getting burnt by Garrett Wilson and Allen Lazard. I think it's going to happen. I think it's a for sure trap game, and I think it's going to be a Jets win. The next game up is the Miami Dolphins versus the Indianapolis Colts, one of the most irrelevant games this week. We got two teams that I think are going to do nothing this year on nothing rosters with nothing head coaches. But I got to pick someone to win, right? So here we go. I'm picking the Miami Dolphins to beat the Indianapolis Colts. I don't know why the Indianapolis Colts are favored minus 1.5. I know they're home. but I feel like home advantage is blown way out of proportion. And I think Miami, even with their dysfunctional team on the dysfunctional offense, because Tyreek Hill wants to get the hell out of there, I still think it'll be enough to get the win and cover the spread. Jacksonville versus Carolina. This is an underrated ass game right here. I actually like this game a lot. I think the Jaguars are going to be better this year, and I think the Panthers are going to be better this year. Two teams, like, I don't think the Panthers could squeak in the playoffs. I think the Jaguars could. The Panthers, I think, are going to be very good offensively, trouble defensively, and I like this Panthers offense. I think it's going to do a lot of damage to this Jaguars defense, man. Bryce Young looked sharp last year. Chuba, Rico Dowdle, Trevor Etienne, Ted McMillan. You know, we got Jatavion Sanders up there, Leggett. I think these guys are going to do some serious damage to that Jacksonville defense. But on the other side of the question, this Jacksonville offense is probably going to feast on this Carolina defense. Now, the Jacksonville offense isn't something you got to worry about. You're not like, think about the Jaguars offense, right? But they still have a lot of good players. Like Travis Etienne and Tank Dell, they're not great running backs, but they're serviceable. The rookie Bishal Tootin could be a stud. You never know. Trevor Lawrence apparently is getting along great with the head coach. Dimey Brown's there. Travis Hunter, Brian Thomas, guys who can get that shit done on the offense. And an improved offensive line looks like it'll be a fun one. But ultimately, I think the Jaguars take the hit on this one in a shootout. Another shootout. 30-27, Jacksonville Jaguars. Washington versus the New York Giants. Now, this is interesting because I think the New York Giants defensively match up pretty well against the Commanders. That defensive line looked mean and lean. They got freaking studs up the board on this team, man. Chauncey Golston, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, and Kayvon Thibodeau. This is a mean defensive line, and I think this could give Jaden Daniels a lot of trouble. Now, I do think the defense is going to hold that run game well and put Jaden Daniels in check for a little bit. However, that secondary is so bad that it doesn't matter. Even if Jaden Daniels has 2 seconds to throw, he will find someone open down there. He will find someone. Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, Zach Ertz. One of them is going to be open down there because that secondary is horrible. But the offense on the Giants, I think, could do some great stuff. Tyron Tracy, Cam Scattaboo, the running back duo there. You got Russ Wilson passing to Malik Nabers. I like it. I like it a lot. I think this game's going to be decently close, but unfortunately, that Washington offense is going to take over the Giants secondary and defeat them. 21-17. Arizona versus the New Orleans Saints, the most irrelevant team in the league right now, the New Orleans Saints versus the Arizona Cardinals. I feel like I don't see this matchup a lot. It seems like a different team, you know? Like, looking at this matchup, it's like, you don't really see these teams face each other too much, do you? And you don't. The Saints have a sad team. Like, this is just sad. Spencer Rattler, Chris Olave with concussions, Alvin Kamara's 30 years old now. It's a sad offense. Like, you got to feel for Saints fans, man. They don't deserve this. They didn't deserve any of this. They suffered through Derek Carr for 3 years, and that sucked. That took the life out of them, even though they had that great 2-week stretch. Oh, boy. That week 1-2 stretch. Ooh. Stuff of dreams right there. But ultimately, I think that the Saints are going to roll over and die. The Cardinals love starting strong in their seasons with Kyler Murray. And I think the Cardinals are going to go on there and smack some tail and kick the crap out of this New Orleans Saints team 27-7. The Cincinnati Bengals versus the Cleveland Browns. Week 1 in Cleveland. I'm taking the Cleveland Browns. All right, listen. Now, I know this is obviously, what? Well, like guys, listen. Joe Flacco is a competent quarterback. He's not good. He's competent. And I know he's got great chemistry with David Njoku. David Njoku's stats were all through the roof with Joe Flacco playing. The running back core is not as bad as you think. Jerome Ford. Quinshon Judkins may not even play. However, they got a rookie on their team named Dylan Sampson who could do well. The Browns offense isn't needed to be that great, but the Bengals defense, we know, is not very good. So even if they stall it on a lot of drives, I think they could do well because their defense can get the Joe Burrow and stop that offense for a few drives. You know, you got Denzel Ward and Myles Garrett. The defense is going to be somewhat competent with those guys there, and I think they're going to do pretty well, and I think they're going to capitalize on the Bengals' mistakes, and of course, them starting slow in the season because they love doing that, and I think they're going to capitalize and beat the Cincinnati Bengals. Raiders, Patriots. Now, this is a tough one, because although I do think the Patriots are going to make the playoffs, and I do think the Raiders are going to finish with like 6 to 8 wins, actually, not going to say that word, 6 to 8 wins, I feel like the Patriots are going to start slow this year, and I feel like the Raiders are going to start hot. So it's a toughie because on my bracket, I'm like Patriots for sure. But I don't know, the Raiders, man. I feel like they might be tricky, man. Geno Smith, Pete Carroll, I think they got some tricks up their sleeve. That's the one thing I don't want about Pete Carroll, man. That guy has a full deck of cards under his sleeves. You never know what he's planning for a game. He might throw you off guard with some wacky stuff here, right? Now, the team's got great players like Ash Genty, Brock Bowers, Geno Smith, a freaking solid trio of quarterback, tight end, running back. However, I think the Patriots' defense is still going to be good enough with Mike Vrabel to slow them down, not quite stop them, because I don't think they're going to be stopped, Brock Bowers and Genty, but I think it'll be enough to just slow them down enough to get the win for Drake May and the Patriots. Although Drake May, I don't think is going to have a stellar game, I think he's going to do just enough to get that win. The first 4 o'clock game, the San Francisco 49ers versus the Seattle Seahawks. Now, here we go again. The San Francisco 49ers have the number of the Seattle Seahawks. They just do. I feel like last year when they lost to them, that was like the first time they lost to them in like 5 years, and it was like a last-second play with like 10 seconds left. Insane ending. I loved it. However, I feel like Kyle Shanahan with a healthy team, Brock Purdy's feeling his groove, George Kittle, I think they're just going to beat the Seahawks here. I don't want to think too much about this game and get too in-depth because division games are actually probably the easier games to predict in the first few weeks of the season because at least you know what you're kind of getting with the division opponents. And I think they're just going to take care of business in Seattle, win this game, actually by 10 points, I think, like 23-13, get it done. Make the Seattle Seahawks play a sloppy game and just take it over from there. Denver versus Tennessee. I think Denver's going to go there and make a statement win against the Tennessee Titans and show that there are levels to this. There's levels to this game, my man. There's levels, brother. Brother, there's levels. There's levels to these games, brother. And this is the levels you're going to show as the frickin' Tennessee Titans get curb stomped. Not literally curb stomped. Metaphorically curb stomped by the Denver Broncos, losing in Denver. Mile High, Cam Ward's first game. Doesn't sound like a fun time. Green Bay versus the Detroit Lions. Hell yeah, baby. Let's go. Now, looking at this game a few weeks ago, I was like, oh, Detroit's so good in Green Bay. They're going to beat them. But then they got Micah Parsons there. And I know he's a little banged up, but I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn if he's banged up. The issue the Packers had last year was a pretty subpar pass rush. Now, Rashawn Gary is a stud. He's great, right? But Rashawn Gary needs help on that line. There's only so much Edgerrin Cooper can do on a blitz, and he's great at blitzing. But Micah Parsons is a game changer. People think like, oh man, like just one player. Do you realize how much better the Cowboys defense was with Micah Parsons? Did you watch them last year without him? They were horrible. I'm pretty sure, I think I've looked up a stat. They gave up the most yards per play without him and the least yards per play with him. Yes, a pass rusher makes that much of a difference. An elite one. Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, TJ Watt, Micah Parsons. There's a reason you don't lose those guys. Because they're that elite and they're that great. So yes, I do think the Packers are going to win because I think Micah Parsons is going to constantly put Jared Goff in constant distress. Jared Goff, not comfortable, is a disaster waiting to happen. Let's be real here. He's going to throw the ball. He's going to get picked by McKinney. So we return for a touchdown. Packers win. First game of the season. Now we got the Houston Texans versus the Los Angeles Rams. This is an underrated game I actually like a lot. The Texans offense struggled a lot last year since C.J. Stroud and the run game kind of fell apart. However, I think it's going to be probably the same, honestly. I don't know. I was going to say better at first, but I'm like, it's probably going to be the same thing. But I think the first few games, there's a new mojo of an offensive line. Now, if the offensive line of the Texans is worse than it was last year, which on paper it is worse than last year, this is going to be a rough one because the Rams' defensive line is hauntingly good. It's scary good. They were scary good. I mentioned this before. They sacked the Eagles 7 times. The Eagles' offensive line, that line, a top 3 offensive line in the league, 7 times. If this new rookie they got, I think his name is Ariante on the Texans, is not good, it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be a rough day for CJ Stroud because Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, Colby Turner, Byron Young, they're gonna feast. They're gonna feast, dude. So you gotta hope for this. But I also think the defensive line of the Texans is also really good. I think they could give Matt Stafford trouble. Although I think Stafford, even though he's old and rickety, he can't really run. He's still a pretty good pocket passer. He can still shimmy in that pocket and find someone open. You don't really need to run as a quarterback. As long as, like Tom Brady. Tom Brady was never fast. The reason he was so good for so long is because he wasn't a statue. He actually moved in the pocket. He actually can shimmy and foresee the future and shift off those tackles. And that's what Matt Stafford can do a lot. So with that, I think I'm going to take the Los Angeles Rams to win 24-20 in a very fun offensively and defensively game. And hopefully Nick Chubb plays good because I think Nick Chubb is, I think Unc still got it. And I hope he does good. Go get him, Nick Chubb. The Sunday night game, the Baltimore Ravens versus the Buffalo Bills, a rematch of the divisional round game. Who do I think is going to win? I don't care. Yeah, hear me? I don't care who wins this game. Obviously, I'm a Ravens fan, and it's like, oh, you want that win back from the divisional round game. First of all, winning this game does not bring back a win from that game. It does nothing. And two, I feel like these first few weeks, you got to watch them stress-free, right? I'm a Ravens fan. I'm going to be stressed watching this game, obviously, but the first few weeks, I'm not saying they don't matter, but they kind of don't matter too much because I feel like these first few weeks, you don't know what you're getting with teams, and the teams don't usually hit their groove. Like how the Ravens started out 0-2 last year. The Ravens blew a 10-point lead against the Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders with Gardner Minshew, and they still made the playoffs and almost made it to the championship game. I'm just going to say this. I hope this game is fun. If the Ravens lose, so be it. I just hope this game is Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson at their peaks playing great, because I don't think I've ever seen these guys face where both of them are at their peak. One of them is always playing a little bad. One of them always is. It's never both of them. One of them is always playing really good. The other one's either playing all right or just bad. It's always happened. Divisional round game, Josh Allen played pretty good. Lamar kind of Season game, Lamar played great. Josh Allen played bad. I think it was before that when the Ravens blew a 20-point lead. Lamar played all right, and then Josh Allen played really good. I just want to see these two guys play great at the same time. I've seen Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen play peak performances against each other. I want to see these two guys play peak performances against each other. I think it'd be great for everyone. Not only Bills and Ravens fans, it'd be good for everyone. But ultimately, I'm going to pick the Bills to win this game 31-30. The last second 57-yard field goal from Tyler Bass to win the game. Monday night game, the final game of the week, the Minnesota Vikings versus the Chicago Bears. Now I'm going to say this right now. Joe Thuney's all great. Fine it. Love Joe Thuney. I know the right tackle. I forget his name, but I know he played actually pretty good last year. But I don't think they're doing a damn thing against this defensive line of the Vikings. Brian Flores is going to be sending those boys. Andrew Van Ginkel, Jonathan Grenard, Jonathan Allen, and now Dallas Turner going to his second year, and I think he's taking a big step up. They're going to feast on this guy. Now, it depends how Caleb Williams does against pressure, because I guarantee you Ben Johnson has been telling this guy, listen, if you're getting pressured, find a check down, throw the ball away, don't run around like you're Patrick Mahomes. And I think Ben Johnson's going to nail that into Caleb Williams' head over and over again. So I think he's going to be a smarter Caleb Williams, a more veteran Caleb Williams than we usually see. A bit of a smarter chap of Caleb Williams. Like, Caleb Williams in the pocket, running right. He's getting pressured. Oh, he throws away. What a great play by Caleb Williams. That's what I want to see from Caleb Williams. I don't want to see this voodoo imitation crab version of Patrick Mahomes, because you're not Patrick Mahomes, buddy. Be you. Be you, dude. But ultimately, I think it's going to matter. And I do think J.J. McCarthy's going to struggle in his first few games. But also, I think Kevin O'Connell knows this. He's smart. I think he's going to be like, dude, listen. Pass to Hawkinson on the flat. If you see Jefferson one-on-one with a weak corner, just take a shot. If he gets picked off, but he's a great player. You know, like, these are smart coaches. They know what they're doing. I think the Vikings are ultimately going to win, though, and show that there are levels to this game. Show Caleb Williams that even though you got a new coach, a new team, there's levels to this game. All right, and that is my predictions for the week one. I know this is less high quality than my usual predictions videos, but I'd rather just go into more in-depth with games instead of doing a short description with a lot of editing. You know what I mean? I think this is just a better option overall. So that's it for me. Hope you enjoy the game this weekend, everybody. I'm out of here, and go Ravens.